So let's talk about Escape Plan.
Escape Plan.
This is our review of the week. This is the newest VTOL assorted game. Tom, do you want to read the little blurb about the game that tell us about, this is written by VTOL telling you about the game?
You got it. After a successful heist, you and your fellow thieves are laying low and enjoying the good life. Most of the cash has been hidden away, and the rest has been invested in businesses throughout the city. Everything is going according to plan. Until the police get a breakthrough in their investigation, accusations are made, fingers are pointed, and after a heated argument, you decide to go your separate ways. Chaos ensues as the SWAT team is called in and starts to close off the city's exits. Your only choice now is to escape before the city is completely locked down. But you need a plan. A good route that allows you to leave the city while recovering as much of the money as possible. You will need to call in some favors, hire some local gangs to create diversions. Bribing the police would be a good idea too, but it isn't cheap. Disguises may help, but they won't fool everyone. Setting the police on a trail to your former colleagues will give you a better chance of escape, but the other thieves are thinking the same thing. Will you escape the city with the most money? Or will the police lock down the city before you can escape?
Now, that is an awesome theme. Now, let's talk about VTOL's other games briefly and go over their themes, because this one stands out for me. Now, VTOL is known mostly for what I would call simulation games. I mean, these games, I think, attempt to give you a simulated experience of a specific job, usually. The gallerist is what it's like to be a gallery owner, how to purchase art, how to raise the value of the artists that you've invested in.
Sure.
How to sell your art on the international market.
Vinos is winemaking.
Italian winemaking.
Portugal, I think.
Is it? Oh, okay. Might be.
Pretty sure. Yeah, and it deals with everything from putting your wine into competitions, selling your wine to contracts to different merchants, or if the wine isn't scoring so great, selling it to local shops and things like that.
Kanban is the Japanese ethos of management and applied to a car manufacturing company.
Yeah, the word Kanban means billboard, I believe, and it's sort of a series of you do this step, then this step, then this step for maximum efficiency, I believe is how it is described.
CO2, you are attempting to reduce the carbon footprint of the world and save us from sure death.
Semi-cooperative to cooperative, depending upon the way you play. So when Matt says simulations, CO2 is the perfect example because 75% of the time you're gonna lose CO2,
right. And that decision is purely just made on what most people believe to be our actual chances.
Yeah, and Vidal, when he was asked about that, said, "Yeah, that's pretty much how I wanted it to be." Yeah, right? Wake up.
So this is the first game of his that I would call highly thematic in a fictional sense. I mean, this is, while it is definitely maybe a simulation of what it's like to have done something very specific where you went on a heist, hid your money throughout the town, and now the police are closing in and you have 3 days to get your money and get out of there. This is very clearly something inspired by movies.
Oh, yeah.
This is his ode to Reservoir Dogs, to Heat, to Ocean's 11, to a lot of heist movies where the criminals turn on each other at a certain point and it's every man for himself or every woman for herself.
He knew the risks. He didn't have to be there. It rains, you get wet.
That's right. So
I'm going to be quoting Heat throughout this review. Yeah. So it's one of my absolute favorite movies.
Never seen Heat? Michael Mann masterpiece. Go check it out. So yeah, but this is an interesting thing for VTOL. This is new to be sort of in a sort of a sillier realm, a lighter fare.
Yeah. It's a.
I mean, Lisboa is about the great earthquake that destroyed Lisbon and the reconstruction of the town. That is very different from we're a bunch of criminals and we're going to stab each other in the back and get out of town with the money.
Yeah. This one feels like he's suddenly entered a pulp realm, whereas everything else has been documentaries, right? He's gone from Ken Burns to Quentin Tarantino.
So let's give you the quick stats here. This game plays 1 to 5. It does play solo. We'll talk about that. It goes all the way up to 5.
It plays 5 players, which is a big attraction to our
Plays 5 is great. Almost every VTOL game plays 4, I believe. This might be the first VTOL game that plays 5. I actually am pretty sure there is not another game that plays 5.
I agree. I think that's true.
The game plays in 90 minutes to 2 hours. Now, it's a long teach, but once everybody knows how to play, 90 minutes to 2 hours. We finished it in 2 hours last night.
Oh, yeah. I think when you get going, it's It could happen a lot faster. It depends on your group,
Yeah.
but there's a lot to analyze.
I think once you have this game down, you could do a 5-player game in 90 minutes. I don't think that would be a problem if everybody knew what they're doing.
If your people are not prone to analysis paralysis.
I don't think there's another
Maybe even
I don't
faster.
think there's another VTEL game under 3 hours. I can't think of a VTEL game that isn't at least 2.5 to 3 hours.
If CO2 goes really bad, you can be over
Potentially, sure. But I mean, Gallerist definitely 3 hours.
No.
Lisboa definitely. Vinos is his longest. Maybe Vinos could take 4 hours.
Yeah.
Kanban is not
long.
short. Yeah, I mean, so
Yep.
he plays. These are long, heavy games, and this is the lightest of VTEL's big box games. The easiest teach.
by a considerable margin.
Yeah.
And yet
it's still heavy.
And
it's
yet,
still a heavy game.
I consider this medium heavy. I would say.
Yeah,
I think at the end of the day,
but it was still a 45-minute to an hour-long teach for a group of people who had never even heard of the game before.
because it still has the classic Vital elements, which is he does interlocking systems in a very interesting way.
Right. He always jokes his games are very simple, and he would joke that the Gallerist is literally move your piece, take the action. And that is technically correct. Lisboa as well, he would joke and say, play a card, draw a card. That's true. That's technically all you do on your turn, but play a card. It does this. That triggers this. This triggers that. On and on and on, cycle. And so you technically, yes, you're playing a card, drawing a card, or you're moving a piece, taking the action. But what happens when you do those things can often chain in a very complicated way.
And let's talk about just some of the elements in this game.
Yep.
First of all, you have notoriety. Notoriety is a track that can go up. You can go up that track. You can come down that track.
I'd say the most interesting part of the game.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it is. Going up notoriety is not all good. Some of it's good. Some of it's bad.
Right.
You will be able to unlock assets. You will be able to get advantages by going up that track. But when you cross certain thresholds, you will also have people, the other players, everyone below you in notoriety gets to move a cop in your direction.
It's sort of like the Mass Effect good or evil track.
Yeah.
Like, you're going evil, but you're going to get some cool perks. But there's also going to be some downsides. Same as going good.
Yeah, the opposition is increasing against you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this sort of notoriety track does the same thing. It's good to go up it, but it's also bad to go up it.
Absolutely. A second thing that you're tracking all the time is those cops, right? Those cops are placed on the board in a certain place. They're going to be moved throughout the game for several reasons. There are cards that will allow you to move them. There are other things. And cops are a real danger to you. You have to have a means to mitigate traveling through an area with cops, or you are getting shot.
Well, let's talk just quickly about what we're looking at on the table.
Sure.
So there is a large map, and it starts out very small with 2 tiles. We're talking oversized hexagons that you're going to be building a map from. And it starts with 2 tiles. Everybody's at the hospital. I guess for some reason we all met up at the hospital to start there, or I don't know, we all got injured and woke up. I don't know why we're at the hospital. They don't really explain that, but we're all at the hospital at the beginning.
I think it's a mob hospital. That's my guess. That's my guess. But in each turn of the game, 4 new tiles are going to be laid out.
Yep.
Tiles have to be laid such that they touch 2 other tiles. So you're not going to be able to create crazy, funky things. You're going to be building the city out fairly organically. Right. There are different types of territory on the tiles. And the rule is that at least one territory must match a territory on one of the other tiles. So,
right.
So to some degree, you're creating overlapping large territories out of that.
Right. Now, the way the map comes out can drastically change the game, as we saw last night, which I think is also, other than notoriety, the most interesting part of this game is that I think it's going to play wildly differently every time.
Because there are buildings that you want to go to, because those are the businesses that you're storing your money in, right? That I've hidden $100,000 in the disco. I've hidden $50,000 in the restaurant, right?
Or thematically also, I have invested in this restaurant. I'm going there because I'm going to Mexico permanently, and I'm now cashing out of this business. I bought in for $100,000. I want my $100,000 back of my investment money in this business because I'm out.
Oh, I thought you were going to go the other way with that, which is there are also buildings where you go, and instead of getting money for the end game scoring,
right.
You're getting income that is just cash on hand that you're going to be able to spend.
Yeah, so that would be the cash you've sort of hid there.
Sure,
the other is sort of the investments that you'll be paid out on later.
Totally get it. Okay, so
You're just saying
we were saying the same thing on opposite sides, right?
Exactly.
Right. There are also safe houses, which have a similar thing. You can collect money from them, or you can collect the big cash that is your sort of end game money as well. But each of them do different things. In the last game that we played, I don't think, no safe houses came out in the first round, and only one came out in the second round. And there are only 3 days. There are only 3 large rounds in the game.
Right. By the 3 days in the game, by the third day, every possible tile on the board will be out. The whole map will be there. The order it came out in, though, can drastically change the way the game is played. As Tom said, we didn't see these safe houses until the last day.
And check this out. In each day, you are only guaranteed 3 actions.
Right.
So 3 actions day 1, 3 actions day 2. At the beginning of day 3, you can escape.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, the longer you wait, it's odd to say a Vital Lacerda game has a press your luck aspect.
Absolutely does, this one. Yeah.
But it totally does.
You can mitigate it completely, but you have to do some things to do that. Yeah. So this is one of the Vital Lacerda. I'd also say the mark of a Vital Lacerda game is at the beginning, I can blow your mind by saying how few actions you're going to get in this whole game. So like most of them you can see exactly. Like this one right now, you're going to have 9 actions, right? You can have more. It's going to cost a lot, though, to get those. You're going to have to do some work to get some extra actions. You may get 11. 12 would be hard. 13, super hard. 14, impossible. I mean, technically, the max you could get is 15. There's a way to get 5 every day. You could never get that many. I don't think you could physically get 15.
No. I think 11 is very doable. I think 12 is significantly possible.
Yeah. So, but that's it. You're going to do at most 12 things in a game. Now, what the cool thing about Vital Lacerda games is if you're planning right, the things that can constitute one action can be a lot of stuff. If you've comboed things correctly, if you prepared right. He is famous for, I place a piece, which gives me a thing, which allows me to put a thing on a here, which gets me another thing. So, he often has these super turns. Everybody loves that feeling. No matter what you're doing, things are happening. You're getting stuff, you're trading things. So you get these feelings of a super turn, which I think is sort of the hallmark of a Vital Lacerda game, is that positive feeling you get when you have a big turn.
Right. And it creates that interconnectivity of mechanisms, which is really, really interesting. 2/3 of the places you go on the map, you're going to be able to get a contact card, which is you're going to get the stunt driver that is going to create a distraction and lead the police away from your location. You're going to get the guy with the sewer map, so you're going to be able to tunnel under the sewers and avoid the police that way. You're going to get access to a gang and be able to use their abilities, and they can do anything from steal a helicopter for you and fly you somewhere else to distract the police, or they're just going to lower your notoriety by working for you and basically saying, we're kind of doing it all for him. He's kind of laying low.
Yeah, I mean, thematically, it's so fun to talk out, like to LARP it to a certain extent, and have because you're going to your safe house really quick, where you meet you talk to the snitch who helps you get the police off you. Then you hire the Hell's Angels to kill a couple cops for you as you fly across this place. But then one of them's gonna lower your notoriety by telling everyone around here that you're, not as bad as everyone thought. And, there's so many cool little stories you can create.
I got shot really bad by the cops. I got to go to the hospital. But guess what? I go to the hospital. The doctor, he snitched on me, right? He had a freaking report.
When
What's
you go
going
to the
on
hospital, they have to tell the authorities about your gun wound, and you will take notoriety for visiting the hospital, though they will heal all your wounds.
My first play, I did the New York, New Jersey Goomba.
Right. So Tom LARPed both of our games. We played this twice. I played it once solo. We played it with 5 and 4 and solo. So Tom LARPed both of our games. The first time, he did a stereotypical Italian. Tom, are you Italian at all?
No, but I am from New Jersey. And
okay. So you feel like you're culturally allowed to do that sort of mob boss.
2 of my best friends growing up were Tony Carlissimo and Tommy Viola.
Okay.
Tommy Viola, I believe, did time. I'm not positive, but I think he actually did some. So yeah, my town was about 40 to 50% Italian and 25% mob. So
gotcha.
this is
You're familiar with the world.
I feel I stand on solid ground here.
And then with our other game, you went Guy Ritchie gangster.
Oh, that was a fun one, wasn't it? Are you a total moppet? Are you a total moppet? What are you doing?
Imagine that for 90 minutes. I don't have to imagine it. I lived it.
Which was more fun for you?
I like the second one more.
I think
I laughed more at that one.
Well,
you really kept it up the entire
But you were doing it too.
Yes, I couldn't help it. It's infectious.
It really is.
It's absolutely infectious.
Yes, I do recommend the Guy Ritchie model. I think it's really great.
So a 3-day game, 9 actions, maybe 11 or 12 if you're playing right. And then at the end of the game, as your last action, you must escape the town as per the name of the game. You have to have escaped.
First person to escape pays nothing to get out.
Second person pays 5. Third and fourth or fifth, somehow it changes per player, is going to pay maybe $10 to get out. If you don't have that money,
10,000, but yes,
10,000. Yes. If you do not have the money,
you don't get out.
You lose.
And all of the points that you have gathered over the course of the game, they're nothing.
There's player elimination in this game. I mean, you were just out. The game will be over as well, so you don't have to go watch TV, but you're out. You didn't win. You have zero chance of winning. You're no longer in the running. So I do love that in games. I do love Gugong has that as well. I don't think you played Gugong yet.
No.
Gugong has a thing where there's a track in the game, and if you don't get to the end of the track, you are not eligible to win.
Reiner Knizia does this little filler game called High Society. One of my absolute favorites. Amazing. The person with the least money left over at the end of the game automatically loses, and invariably that is the person that has the most points that has done so great. So it's absolutely wonderful. Matt, quick question.
Yeah,
loaded question.
Go ahead.
Was there anybody in either of our 2 games that wasn't able to escape the city?
I believe Jesse did not escape in our first game. Now,
Are you sure? I thought Jesse won that game.
Jesse will tell you that I didn't explain a rule to him correctly. And you know what? It's possible. It was a learning game. Also, I didn't teach the game. But he did ask me a question about his player power. So there are some asymmetrical player powers in the game. It does not come in the base box. That is...
Are you throwing me under the bus? I think you're saying I taught the game.
No, because he didn't ask you about the player power. He probably asked me. There are asymmetrical player powers which do not come in the base game. They are part of an expansion pack, which I assume will also be available when things hit retail that you can get. It's not a Kickstarter exclusive. But those are variable playing powers, and Jesse asked me a question about his, and I actually didn't understand what his did because I hadn't read it because I never played the game before. I'm a little focused on my board. And I might have answered his question incorrectly because I might have thought he was asking me something else. But either way.
Sure. And by the way, there's a ton of things to learn and to figure out in your first play. It's easy to miss things. We should actually talk about the expansion bits just a brief moment. It's always tough after only 2 plays to start making pronouncements about a game, but I do feel like there are 2 things in the expansions. One is you get a character that has a special ability.
Right. There are generic ones and then ones that are specific to the player colors in the game.
Correct. Then the second thing that you get are these mission cards.
Right. Personal secret objectives.
Correct. Where you have something where you have to do this thing or this thing. If either of these conditions are met, you get to flip this card over, and then you have 3 special powers that for the rest of the game you can choose and use. I felt that those cards did not have the balance that I was looking for in a game that is very, very tactical.
Well, I had one that was just definitely better than everybody else's. My mission. I mean, my mission was to visit 2 businesses where I collect income. Now, there was a certain level of RNG happening there because those 2 businesses came out in round 1.
Sure.
And one of them I chose because in turn order you choose the tile that comes out and you choose the building. But the other one
I chose.
But that's just luck.
Sure.
So let's talk about at the beginning of the game. One of the most interesting parts of the game is you get a card that has the name of the game on it, which is escape plan. That is your escape plan. That tells you where you've stashed all your money, and everybody has a different one, and these are secret.
So the exact same 9 locations, the 6 businesses, and the 3 safe houses, everybody has a number on that. Then it is either a $sign, in which case you are going to go there and collect whatever your current income is, and have in-game money to spend, which you are going to need because everybody requires almost everything you do in the game requires money,
especially escaping.
Correct. Or you have a dollar amount there, and that is end game scoring. That is anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 that you have, socked away into these various businesses or safe houses.
Right.
That you're going to be pulling out for the end of the game.
And you definitely want to get to your good ones. I mean, I don't think you have a chance of winning if you don't get to the $100 place or the $90 place or the $80 place. You really want to get to the good ones.
I mean, ideally you do, yeah. I will say that what we found in the first couple games is that there are a couple other things that can score really highly. There are markets
Yeah.
that you can go to. When you go to a market, you can buy equipment, and some of that equipment can be things that will throw the police off your scent.
Yeah, you actually buy police outfits to look like a cop and escape. You buy riot gear, or you buy a police helmet, or it's
A bulletproof vest.
Yeah, you look like a cop so you can get out of places, which I think is funny.
Which is really great. You also get a gas can, which is going to let you to move one space farther on each turn.
Get your car far. I guess you're in a car for a lot of this.
And if you have a key, and in the Kickstarter expansion, there are nice metal keys that you get.
Upgraded, beautiful metal keys.
You can potentially go to this place and you can open a safe in the back.
I've heard all the keys actually open Vital Lacerda's home.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And he lives in Portugal, right?
Yeah. So
I'm going to be there this summer.
There you go. Bring a couple keys.
Totally.
That's not true.
Yeah, you can open these safes, and the safes are there'll be a stack of 5 tiles.
Yeah.
And based on how many contacts you have, how many of those contact cards you have on your tableau, that's how many draws you get at it.
Right, which is thematically cool, because imagine like there is a big wall of safes and you have a key, and it'll open up a few of them, but you can only use it once, so you don't know. And so the more contacts you have, the more people are going to tell you, like, no, it's actually it's locker 312 that has the good money in it.
Exactly. And there are 3 different colors of safes, and the green safes are they don't have a really great distribution. There are some bad, there are some that are sort of okay, and then some that make a little bit of money, all the way up to the black safes, which are in the middle, and then the brown safes. The brown safes are awesome. I mean,
but you have to have a lot of contacts in order to be able to see any of them.
It is contacts plus notoriety is exactly right.
Yeah.
And you have to really be a notorious gangster to be able to even get into those. But if you do, they pay more than your highest the highest building that you can go to.
Yeah, $110. Now, those are really fun. The whole process of it, because you got to go to a safe house, you got to get a key, then you got to go to the market. You got to open up a thing, but you have to have enough notoriety and enough contacts in order to be allowed to look into a locker. There's many steps to it, and it's very fun and satisfying to actually like open a locker and get that big amount and put it on your player board and know that you've done as good as you can in that little game.
So if you like what you're hearing, it is a fun thematic game. I for me, the theme matters a lot, and if it's a fun, interesting theme that I feel like I'm playing and I'm in the middle of, I highly recommend playing this game. I'm not going to say that there are some games I play it, and the moment I play it the first time, I'm like, oh my god,
this is a classic,
I love this game.
Yeah.
I don't feel that yet about this. What I will say is that I felt an instant like. For sure. And I'm kind of giddy about it. It's because it is fun.
This is a Vital Lacerda game I would play with a lot more people.
Yeah.
A much wider group of gamers than I would with any of his other games. Now, Vital Lacerda games I love maybe as a designer more than anybody else in terms of just body of work.
Yeah.
But I am not playing a Vital Lacerda game with anybody who is not a board gamer. I'm not even going to bother.
I think
I tried to teach Vinos once. Rachel and I had a couple over and we played Vinos. We did a good job. We got through it. People enjoyed it. But it was, I mean, if the last game you played was Settlers of Catan and someone puts Vinos down, you just better hope that they are really invested in making this night fun.
It's kind of like
it's heavy.
It's kind of like it's kind of like trying to introduce somebody's second Euro game ever and trying to get them to play Indonesia.
Yeah, or like you just learned English and you give someone Moby Dick. Like it's a lot. It's a lot to take on.
Melville doesn't use huge words.
But the theme is so great and it's intuitive what you want to do.
Yeah.
And even if, all that you need to really make sure is the person understands that they have to escape, and they may not win, they may not beat you, they may not have a high score, but they're going to have fun doing all their stuff and escaping at the end.
Yes.
So we played this with Jake, the casual gamer. Yeah. And I think Jake felt there was a little bit of downtime between turns. That was a 5-player game.
It was 5-player.
He did mention a few times that it felt like it was never his turn and a long time between turns.
And it's the first time we ever played it. 5 players. There's going to be a lot of time sitting there. It's also a lot of Vital's games have a lot of strategic thinking. And this one is
the word plan is not a joke in this game. You have to plan out how you're going to get all your money and escape.
But I do think this game is more tactical than it is strategic.
Correct.
So for people out there that don't know what I'm talking about, just really, really simply, strategy is the plan you go into when you're going into the war, and it's the large idea of I'm going to do this and this and this. Tactical is once you're you actually met the enemy and you're in close quarter combat, okay, that strategic plan isn't going to work. Now I'm going to have to do this or this because of the situation right in front of me.
Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's when tactics come into play.
Yeah, this game is, you do need to do both, actually. Though when you play it the first time, you may think that it's mostly a tactical game. Mostly it is look at your situation when it's your turn and make the best call given, okay, now the police are here and here and here, and now there's two people in this building versus that building, or this building just got locked because if in the 4 or 5 player game, if 3 other thieves have gone to a location, that location is going to lock up and you will not even be able to get in there
unless you have a key,
unless you use one of your precious keys,
which you really want to be using on a locker.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. So you can definitely, during your downtime, think about what you want to do. Prioritize. Go, here's my number 1 thing. Here's my number 2 thing. Here's my number 3 thing. But you're not going to know what you're going to do till it's your turn because it's really going to depend on who's gone there ahead of you.
Exactly.
Or the police situation. Police can be moved around. You can figure out how many wounds you're going to take. But then all of a sudden there are 4 police on the tile you wanted to leave from, and before there was 1, or 3. Those would be the most. But let's talk about wounds really quick as well.
Sure.
So every time you leave a tile, you have to deal with the police on that tile. When you go into the tile, you don't have to worry about them. When you leave, you have to worry about them. So easy to get in, hard to get out. So once you leave, you either must have some kind of powers that manipulate the cops or deal with them, or tiles you flip over for your costumes, things like that, or you just take 1 wound per police. So you have 3 wounds and little tokens that you're going to move over from healthy to injured.
If you've taken all 3 wounds and you take a 4th wound and you have no way to mitigate it, you are going to get arrested. Right. You're going to get a handcuff card. It is going to go down on the tableau where you normally put your contacts.
Right, which are little cards, and it's going to permanently block a spot there. You have 1 less option for contacts.
Correct. So if you and by the way, when that happens, you only get 1 wound back. Yeah. So you're basically only 2 wounds away from getting another handcuff card.
Right. Now, the penalty of handcuff cards are twofold. 1, they limit the amount of endgame scoring you can get for contacts. It's a max of 100. If you have 5 contacts at the end of the game, you'll get 100 points. Every handcuff card is obviously going to block a spot, thus lowering that. But also, you must remove a contact from your board at the end of the game for every handcuff on there. So if you have 3 contacts and 2 handcuffs, you actually have 1 contact at the end of the game, which is going to be worth 0 points. So it could but if you have 5 handcuffs, you lose 100 points. Guaranteed, basically. If you have 4 handcuffs, you probably lose 100 points too. If you have 3 handcuffs, you probably lose 100 points also. But the worst thing that can happen is lose 100 points. Now, that's just endgame scoring. It also means you're not going to have those contacts. You're not going to have space for them, which is very valuable. It also means it could remove a couple assets before you have a chance to use them as well, because each of those little spaces hold an asset. So there are some bad things that can happen with it. But it's not. A lot of people think in a game where you're taking wounds and you get arrested, I think thematically you go, oh, I cannot let that happen.
It seems like it should be a bigger deal.
It's not. That's the thing. It's not that bad. I think a first game mistake is to worry too much about your wounds and your handcuffs.
Well, and you even brought it up. I mean, last night you said, should one of us try a game in which we ignore the cops entirely, just take all the wounds and see if you can win? Because by ignoring the cops, you're able to take actions that you wouldn't ordinarily take. You can skip going to the hospital for one of your actions. And remember, you could have only 6 actions and then need to escape the city. It's very low.
So it'd be almost, what if I said to you that your asymmetrical player power was you are a cop. You never have to worry about cops, but at the end of the game, you have minus 100 points. You would say that's a broken player power. But to a certain extent,
maybe not.
Everybody has that. Now, also another thing, if you are all full of handcuff cards, you just don't take any more handcuff cards. So if you're at the top of the notoriety track, every time you take notoriety, you get a wound. But if you have 5 handcuff cards, you don't.
Yeah.
You're just done.
Now, that said, neither of us ended up doing that.
No.
We ended up having less handcuffs than pretty much everybody.
Because how the game worked out, I just ended up not having a problem dealing with the police.
Yeah, and nor did I. Because one of the things about the game is that I go to this location, I take this contact card, I take this asset off of my board, and now it's available for use. I get a fixer tile. Yep. I get all of these things. And invariably, those things, some of the time, are going to be dealing with the police. And even playing your ideal game and trying to ignore the cops as much as possible, you're still getting things to help you deal with the police.
Let's end our review on this by attempting to rank our VTOL games, and I think that will let you know where this ranks for us.
All right, let's do this.
You want to try that? I'll go first.
Okay.
These are my VTOL Lacerda games in order. My number 1 VTOL Lacerda game of all time is the Gallerist. My number 2 is Kanban. My number 3 is Lisboa. My number 4 is Vinos. My number 5 is Escape Plan. And my number 6 is CO2. Now, I have played all of these games. The order could change on Escape Plan. Order's pretty locked in on the rest, I think. I have not played On Mars yet. It's not out yet. That's just a Kickstarter that just ended. But that's the order I'd put it in right now. The Gallerist, Kanban, and Lisboa as my top 3 are a little malleable on what theme I'm in the mood for at the time. I love them all sort of equally. Vinos, I love a little less because Vinos to me is a little one edge, and I think Vinos is going to be your number 1 if I had to guess. But Vinos for me is one edge a little too brain burnery for my level of enjoyment. It's not that it's too heavy. There's a certain amount of stress that happens in that with the timing of your wines and stuff that I really, if I'm in the mood for it, I love it, but I have to be in the mood for it.
I totally agree. It is maddening because it adds into all of these difficult mechanisms that Vital puts in his games. It puts in a timing aspect,
which is a little push your luck.
Oh yeah. It's tough. It's tough. My number 1 is actually Kanban.
Yep.
I love Kanban.
It's hard to not love it.
I just adore
like
that
I
game.
said, my top 3 are pretty interchangeable.
The lady boss moving around and yelling at you if you haven't met your quota.
Sandra
is in this game.
Is the AI play. When you play 2 players, you have to play with a third player, else the board's a little too empty, and it's sort of controlled by an AI deck, and that is the same AI character that's in Kanban.
Sandra. Yeah, so Kanban, she left the auto facility
for a life of crime,
and she decided she's a cop.
Police officer.
She's a cop. Yeah, she decided to.
She was maybe undercover the whole time. Maybe there was some shady stuff happening at the auto plant.
Interesting. So that's number 1. Vinos is number 2 for me. I love it. I just love it. I like all 3 wine games.
Viticulture, Vinos. What's the third one?
La Granja.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Granja.
Oh, right. Sure.
Yeah. It's excellent. I think Escape Plan right now is number 3 for me. For some reason,
ahead of the Gallerist.
Lisboa.
Ahead of Lisboa.
Lisboa and the Gallerist.
Wow.
Or Lisboa and the Gallerist to me are dead even.
Okay.
They're amazing games, but for me, they each feel. I don't know. They feel a little
samey.
Yeah. They feel a little samey. They feel a little bit like I am doing these things, and I'm not sure that I see the end of it. Right? They're a little less concrete than these other games, maybe a little bit. And then CO2, I think is a great idea. It's a better idea than it is a game.
It's a great experience. It's not something I want to play once or twice. Maybe it's something interesting to show people. If somebody came to me and was like, "Okay, tell me why board games are art." I'm going to bring up CO2 and be like, this is an incredible piece of art that is informative and also an interesting game.
And let me say, if Gallerist is my number 5 Lacerda game,
wow,
it is the greatest number 5 game in the history.
Yeah.
Like there's
it's like
no
ranking
way.
Kubrick films. It's like they're all masterpieces. It's like it's just the order of masterpieces.
Oh, totally. I totally agree with that.
So that's Escape Plan. Clearly, we like it. It's expensive. It's hard to come by. In 90 days, you might be able to get it for $100 or so. But if you love VTOL Lacerda games, we don't need to sell you on it. You're probably already in the market.
And if you don't know VTOL Lacerda games or don't love VTOL Lacerda games, this is the one to jump in.
This is the entry point. This is the entry point for VTOL Lacerda.
This is a VTOL Lacerda gateway game.
It really is.
It is.
Because it's 90 minutes. Even if it's complicated and you don't enjoy it, it's over 90 minutes. And then you know whether it's for you or not. Great review. That was Escape Plan.